on a communication seeking to legislate the free tuition as proposed by His Excellency President George Weah. From whence did you come?
Thank you very much. Pleasure. It's a pleasure to be back again. Yes, we propose a legislation today requesting enactment from the Honorable House of Representatives. As you may be aware, a few weeks ago, we were involved in this political campaign, and we made some commitment to our constituents, the people of Maseralo, by extension, the people of Liberia, as it relates to our 90 days deliverables. If we were to be given the opportunity to serve the people of Maseralo County. Unfortunately, it didn't work, and then we made that commitment that we're going to stick to our commitment. Basically, we like to begin by saying a big thanks to the President, His Excellency Ambassador George Weah, for prioritizing what we call tuition free to all public institutions, especially tertiary education. By extension, we also like to say thank you for his gesture, for taking responsibility for all WACs, the payment of WACs fees for 9th grader to 12th graders. We believe in our wisdom, it is in good faith, and it brings some economic relief to our citizens, because you and I will agree, a few years back, it was a challenge for Liberians' parents paying tuitions for kids, family members at the higher learning institution of our country, for example, the University of Liberia, where some of our colleagues could not even afford the payment of tuitions at the University of Liberia. And that was a problem. And the payment of WAS fees was a challenge for some of our parents, our mothers. Holding to the fact that government is continuity, we believe it should not be on the basis of graphics, meaning the President have agreed and accepted to do this under his watchful eyes. But what becomes of this when it is not a policy driven or legislated? We will become President succeeding George Weah or the CDC-led government. Probably we have changed this gesture. In my wisdom, is a gesture that should take us a long way. Liberia should benefit. It should not be a short term or a medium term. It should be a long term gesture. From that background, we thought to put forth this communication today, meaning those instruments, so that the honorable legislature, beginning with the House of Representatives, can have this special funds be placed aside for the support of our brothers and sisters that will be attending those public institutions of higher learning. We can have revenue set aside and be incurred by this government or succeeding government to pay WACs or wire fees for our children. And the way to do that, it is the legislature that have that authority to see a fit to have this instrument enacted, so that our citizens can continue to benefit beyond the George Weah administration and other administration that will succeed him. So that was put forth today on the floor of the House of Representatives, and a decision was reached in keeping with our procedure that said communication be received and sent to the relevant committees, so deliberations can take place in the committee room and then be resubmitted on the House's floor for finality. Probably we will be on the good side, and then that document, if accepted, will be sent to the Senate for concurrent and onward submission to the Office of the Chief Executive. But we believe it's something good for all of us as Liberians.
We'll take 5 questions. Let's begin with Truth FM. Augustine San.
Fallah, I'd like to say good afternoon, Augustine San. I'm concerned with your knowledge this eve because this could be attributed to applause for your government when it added into law. Have you gone about lobbying with your colleagues so as to this cannot be politicized? Because in our days now, most of our doings or advocacies are political.
Okay, let's take Prince from Prawn FM.
My name is Prince, so my question to you, Fallah, is would this policy cover all learning institutions in Liberia, or are you only focused on public institutions? Because 12 graders are 12 graders, even from the St. Peter's Lutheran, from the Cathedral, CWE, we all 12 graders. So would the policy cover all 12 graders and half graders?
Okay, let me speak to the issue of that quickly, please. I think you specifically trying to speak to WACS, the WACS payment.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's both private and public. It is already in motion. It's already in motion. I think you will agree with me that the government for the last, I think, 2 budgets, it has been paying public institutions of higher learning tuition free. When it comes to WACS, it includes 9th grade, 12th grade, both private and public. So it's in motion already. All we're trying to say is to legislate it so they can have a lifespan. The issue of lobbying, this is the theater of lobbying. Give him an experience and my own connections on the floor. You can rest assured it's not just a bluff. This document, once the name Thomas Fallah surface in anything here, especially in this theater, you know, it speaks well and it has some importance attached.
We take children from Fabric, Winston from Banner, and then we'll take Jonah Freeman. In that order.
Okay.
Trojan.
My name is Trojan. Sir, this particular communications you sent here, of course, you talk about the president and, of course, his gesture, what you describe as a gesture to already pay fees for WASH students, 12th and 9th graders, as well as at the university level. Now that you've got here, is it a policy, of course, that the CDC-led government, of course, wants to see enacted so that it becomes rather a law than a gesture as you've...
it should be a law. It should be a law. Though because that's why we want to change the nomenclature, gesture, or goodwill. Because once it's not legislated in keeping with our functions and responsibility, then, I mean, it's a gesture or a goodwill. Tomorrow, President George Weah and his government could decide and say probably due to the economy and the revenue is not performing, we're going to cut it off. But once it's legislated, then it is binding, it is law and gospel that the government is no longer going to be George Weah. It will be the government of the Republic of Liberia that has a responsibility, that has committed herself to payment of tuitions, payment of WASH fees. So we want to push this, buttressing the effort of the president, buttressing the effort of this government, make it a policy. Maybe all of the experts will come in and give us all of the different ramifications. But we believe if this is enacted, it's going to take us a long way with benefit. I know a lot of Liberians, our friends, we celebrate this as they are currently enjoying the benevolence of our president.
Partner FM.
The government is challenged with the payment of a civil servant salary, beach and waterways projects by council. Too many challenges for the government. If this is legalized, don't you think it's an extra burden on the government that cause another protest? If the government fails to live up to it?
No, there has always been problem. I have been in this theater, like you may be aware, 12 years. Even the then government, there were protests, there were agitations, there were issues of salary. They see old story because government will always have responsibility and challenges, though are different interval in terms of how those situations unfold. But protests and all of that is normal in any democracy. The biggest democracy in the world today, people are killing one another. The protestation is ongoing. So that is just, we should put that aside. But the issue that has to do with our government today, let me remind you, I don't know where you come from, the issue of salary, payment of salary. Yes, there will be issue, harmonization and all of that. Created some bottlenecks, but as far as I'm concerned, I know government is doing well. It's doing well in terms of payment of salary. They are up to current. To the best of my knowledge, they are up to current. The issue you spoke about, we need to be clear. There are a lot of things sometimes we need to be frank with one another. Beach and waterways. There are so many complications. If you don't understand, sometimes you just hear they allow people over 21 months, 18 months, 5 months. The government refuses to pay off. You have to get to the underlying factors to know what are those details that constitute the government owing you. Probably the government will not come and give you some of those irregularities that are found or captured within those exceptions or claim. But I can tell you that the government is up to speed. This government is correct. They are doing well. The issue of beach and waterways, even some of those our friends that claim that government owe them, when you get to the finale of it, you get to realize that there were discrepancy or there are discrepancy that they cannot to some extent justify the claim. Notwithstanding, there are challenges the government is faced with. The economy is challenged, we understand, but we believe there are ways that revenue can be generated to support this identical cost.
Honorable Fallah, you are an experienced person at the level of the legislature. 10 has tend to be corrected. Don't you think, are you also looking at certain laws that have been passed by previous government when it comes to the issue of educational support by our government is not being implemented today? Now, as an experienced person in the legislature, are you also of the belief that if this law is enacted in whatsoever it may be, are you of the belief that government will be able to live off with its statutory mandate as prescribed by the proposed amendment?
The fact that government have done, I think, 2 academic years still to be corrected, like you said. But I know since the inceptions of these suggestions or this stuff, the president, the government have done well. I think 2 academic semesters the government were able to pay, and I believe the government have made this as a decision. The government, the president have made this as a decision, and once a president speaks, it becomes a policy. So by extension, it is a policy of this government that in his first year term, tuition at higher education institutions of learning should be free in public institutions. The payment of WAS and wires for 9th grader, 12th graders should be free. I know it's going to continue up to the ending of its first term. What we're saying is that we need continuity in the last point of this proposal, or what the president is doing should have a stronger last point so that our people can continue to benefit. And I think this government will stand by it because the president is already in motion. He's driving this. It's just a matter of giving him that legislative support and blessing so that we can identify the lands, the source of revenue, so that we can have it specifically this time around into the budget. It must not be maybe called the Minister of Finance or whoever minister to say pay money or remit some amount of dollars to the University of Liberia, remit X amount of dollars to WAX or wire, whatever you may call it. It should be legislated in terms of budgetary lines. As chairman always means, I understand that and I know it very well that this time around, if it is passed, there will be a line for tuition free into our budget that will be captured. There will be a line indicated within the budget for WAS and wire clear. It's now going to be on a contingency or domestic or whatever it is. It's going to be spared out within the budget.
We beg your indulgence to take correction wash.
I want to look at the issue of your university. We saw on Facebook, and I once visited the page, it's about 99% completed. Is your school, your university going to be a public institution, or you're going to run it as a private institution?
No, it's a private institution, as you said.
Are you fronting this to put in your school? Is that the motive?
No, obviously, if I want to be biased, my school, my institution, the proposed Thomas Fallah University, is a private institution. If the doors are open, because there will be another side of the argument, because this will have some also on my I'm being a little bit careful because private institutions should be tempered with in terms of revenue, in terms of students going to those private institutions. If my university is open, probably I could be disadvantaged as the founder and the proprietor of the Thomas Fallah University because it's a business. You want students, the more students that come to your university, the more revenue that will be generated,
And
salary will be
the
paid.
business to make profit.
And it's to make profit. So if we give tertiary education to public institutions, payment of tuition free, you will see a lot of influx to the public institution, meaning the University of Liberia, for example. You'll see a lot instead of going to private university because it's tuition free. People will go there free. They will prioritize going there free rather than coming to private university, thereby disenfranchised, since some of the private universities is something technical to talk about, because you wouldn't want to go there because it's like you'll be stepping on toes. So I will be disadvantaged as well as proprietor of a university. But we don't want to be selfish in this direction. We believe those that can afford to go to private institutions must go to private institutions. Those that cannot afford, they must be given some incentive benefit in terms of the resources of our country to go to proper institutions to acquire tertiary education.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.